On this episode of the Who Is This podcast, we sit down and talk with one of my all-time favorite people, PJ Allred. PJ has been the sheriff of Graham County for 16 years, and he doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. We talk about his career in law enforcement, serving the citizens of Graham County for over 36 years. We really enjoyed the stories he told, and it is easy to tell how much he cares about our community. PJ is an all-around good guy, and we are extremely fortunate to have someone like him as our sheriff. I hope you enjoy listening to the conversation as much as we enjoyed having it. Well, PJ, thanks for coming on this podcast. It's something we've been doing for, I think you're our 11th guest now. So we've been doing for at least 11 weeks, but we're excited to have you on. And we were just talking a little bit about Christmas presents and what to get your wife and everything. I think my dad, the first Christmas present he gave my mom was a deer rifle.
She still has it to this day, right?
I'm sure, yeah.
In the mall.
Because she still doesn't want it now for it either. Oh, no, yeah, he uses it. I'm sure he used it. You know, that was a gift for him, but he's very thoughtful for her. But yeah. Well, no, cool. Thanks for coming on, PJ. So tell us, first, obviously, Graham County Sheriff. How long have you been Sheriff of Graham County?
I am in my 16th year as a sheriff of Graham County. So just a little bit there. So I graduated from the police academy on July 24th of 1987.
Wow.
Okay. Now when I graduated the academy, I did not have a job yet. The county had sponsored me through. I did not have a paying job yet.
Okay.
So I was holding on to a paying job, trying to find one or whatever, and I actually had an invitation at my graduation to go to work for the Tucson Police Department because they were still looking for some officers, and I thanked them, but then no thanked them. I thanked them. I said, no, I'm going home. I'm
Tucson, not for me, yeah.
I need to go home.
I'm married.
Yeah, that's where I belong. That's where I want to be. And I was going to be married just in a few days after that also. So I graduated the 24th. I got married on the 30th of July. And so, and so my wife, she was working at Ochari. She was doing like young couples and trying to make it happen. She'd worked there since her high school, and she was actually not very far out of high school at that point.
So, yeah, how old were you when you graduated the academy? Were you just out of high school?
I was 23. Okay. 20. No, I was not. I was 22.
Okay.
I was 22 when I got out of the academy. So I graduated the academy, and then, I told Tucson no. Then I come home, and of course my dad had farmed cotton for a lot of years, but after my senior year, he pretty well kind of just turned the farming thing. He really didn't ask any of us if we really ever wanted to farm or not. He didn't ask any of us that really. He just kind of, next thing we know, he sold some farm equipment and said, well, I'm farmer. So that's when little daughter, householder, he took over the farms that our families, they're all owned. Then a lot of the other farms, the Skinner Farm and a few of the others around, he turned back to the families and whatever, and then they got people to farm their farms. Yeah.
So growing up, though, did you farm quite a bit? Like, is that kind of what you did? Was help your dad on that?
Well, we farmed. We still had a cow ranch in the Cherry Cows.
Okay.
So we did a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. And
then part of my years we still had a ranch in the Black Hills out here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to spend a lot of time in Mexico. Not on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
but on the ranches down there, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I was 10 years old when my sister married my brother-in-law, who was from the colonies in Mexico. And so, starting at age 10, I started getting to go to Mexico.
Yeah.
To Cunahuatas, and then they had ranches and orchards and things like that down there. But I got to go branding with them, with their ranches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to go to a few other ranches on brand also through the years, was growing up. So that's what I really, really loved and enjoyed that stuff. I mean, that's what
I think of when I think of you and your family. Is cattle ranching. Yeah.
That was my cup of tea that I really loved. More than anything, really, is that point in time of life. Growing up years, I couldn't have asked for better ones, really. Yeah, I got to spend a lot of time with family and ranching and working on lots of horses and a lot of things like that. But then, then after I get out of the academy and I come home and I'm here and I'm getting ready to get married and starting to get hungry and all those things, because Thatcher actually had a job opening come open after I graduated the academy. But another man got the job that was well-seasoned officer. Had been police officer for a lot of years, was good hands. So hey, I'm a Navy guy, so I didn't get the shot at that one, but he did. And anyways, I ended up working for the Department of Corrections. I went back to the academy for the Correctional Academy, CODA, they call it. And I went to the academy back in Tucson at the exact same location that the police academy was at. And I did that academy, got out, then I worked 6 months, for DOC at Fort Grant. I worked night shifts. And, I didn't mind that. It was all right. It's night. Everybody was asleep for the most part. Or they should have been, But working the yard wasn't all that bad of a deal. It was good. And, but after 6 months of it, then the Safford Police Department, they had a job come open. And the Safford Police Chief in those days was a man named Milt Ray. And Milt had been a police officer for many, many years. And he was just a really great guy. And he was an old country guy, but people liked him in the city of Safford. He was a good man. He treated everybody well. And anyway, I got to go through mental testing, got lucky and got the job with Safford Police. And so I did that for 20 years, for just a little over 20 years with Safford. And in that time, my first 3 years was spent as patrol. I liked to patrol. I didn't mind wearing uniform. I didn't mind driving a police car with the lights and the go on it. Not long out of the academy now. I mean, I'd been out for a little over a year, but I had worked reserve with our county through that entire time also. So I was still a young police officer. I mean, I was ready to go get them kind of thing, and just loving life. And I did love life. We had a good time at it, and things were a little bit different. That many years ago, first starting, there was a lot of police officers we've got some good, stout, strong young men and women now that are police officers and deputies. But back then, everybody was a big, stout, strong policeman, We didn't have computers, so we didn't have to worry about techie stuff, And these guys and gals, they would hand you up in a heartbeat, and they'd be in a bar fight getting with the program. And it was just a different type of a world then. But, like everything that happens and everything you do, the police work, that all started evolving into more of a profession. And partway through, after my 3 years, a job came open for investigations slot at the Safford Police, and I put in for that, and I got the investigation slot. I was able to hold that until I got elected. I was in investigations, so just a little over 17 years we did investigations with Safford.
So your position would be considered like a detective? Is that?
Yeah, detective. Yes, exactly.
So no more patrol, no more. Did you still ride around in the?
You still did some of that, yeah. Because there again, okay, so I'm working for Safford, who at that time was the biggest agency in the valley.
Yeah.
Okay, they still pretty much are.
So that's they stay up
right close to. We're actually pretty close to a one-man. We both might have 24 certified.
Oh, the sheriff's office and
and Safford. Okay, but yeah. So having said that, you brought up good points with Safford. So when you're investigating your detective, you get somebody from one of the big city police departments. They call, you get the phone call, and they say, hey, can we talk to somebody that works on auto thefts? And you say, yeah, you got him. Or you might get another phone call that say, hey, we got some serious assaults. You got somebody that work on serious assaults. Yeah, you got him. You got somebody that work on child sex crimes. Yeah, you got him. Homicide, you got him. So in the big city, you get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or, pretty much kind of, I can't speak necessarily all that way for them, but they kind of get to do what they need to do in the big cities. They can specialize in areas and do things they really like. You take on investigations for us in our valley, and I'm not just saying this Safford, it's everybody with investigations. Nobody gets just like specialize and say, this is me, and everything that happens this way comes to me,
I would compare that to like playing sports here. Here, you get to play all the sports.
Exactly.
If you live in the city, you're a one sport.
You're a one sport guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that makes sense. I mean, there's not as much going on here, so it's hard to have like on the pocketbook in the city to have hired, different hires for each, that gets expensive, and there's not the funds to
Sure
provide that.
Sure. I mean, because that happens through your whole. So that's why if you work for one of our law enforcement agencies here in our valley, and you need to be pretty well rounded as far as you work whatever comes after you. Okay. That might not be the right word, whatever comes after you.
Oh, makes sense.
But the call that comes out and pops out, okay, you have a serious accident with injuries or whatever. You don't have a group that you can call up out of your department and said, hey, I need accident investigation teams to come do this. I mean, you're the patrolman on scene. You get it. It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
You do the diagram. You do everything. You do the whole shebang. It's your accident. Now we do have special details where you can go out and work a DUI detail on different holiday weekends or something like that going on. You can do that, but that's only the time you check on your shift. That's your only sole purpose is to work DUI stuff. Well, you're on your regular shift and the DUI pops up in front of you. You should be handling that incident that comes in front of you. Okay. So you don't get really specialized much. Some guys do better job in some areas than others. Some guys are really good at the DUI stuff. Some guys are really good at drug stuff. Some guys are really good at following trails of a theft and burglary. Mm-hmm. Things like that. Some are really good at different areas, but they can all do a little bit of something.
Right.
So we got through that with City of Safford. I'll tell you, during the investigation times, it was really, really neat. And I didn't even ask him if I could throw his name out in the deal or whatever, but I'm going to bring him anyway. Because he was my sergeant for 17 years. Okay? His name's Jason Knight. Hello, Jason. When you watch this, I won't say anything that's going to shame us too bad, all right? Jason was a great sergeant. He was a great person to learn from. Jason was a go-getter. Still is. I don't want so much talk about him in the past tense. He's still kicking it alive, doing very well. So we both are. But Jason was very good. And between Jason and I, when it came to investigations, and there were some other guys that came along with us throughout the years, as time went. But there was a lot of stuff that didn't happen that we couldn't handle.
Yeah.
And we worked very well with other departments, the other agencies around us. We worked lots of informants, and people watch TV stuff or whatever, and yeah, it's really cool and neat, but they don't see the reports that are being written after they do a case. It's kind of like, okay, well, we cleaned up this homicide today. Let's just go and go to bed now. It's just like I said, no, the paperwork's just starting now.
Yeah.
So, or whatever the case might be,
Right.
So it's like you do those things, but together we did a lot of work, and together with a lot of the other investigators, deputies, officers of all the agencies in this valley, a lot of good work was done. And we worked informants. And informants were very important to us. And you need those folks. And I still have informants from 17 years ago, informants to being the sheriff of 16 years now, that will still call me with information on different things that's going on. That's a pretty good relationship when you've got someone who was maybe not the most desirable person in the world at one point in time of their life, who had a lot of issues and troubles and problems, but yet I can still have a relationship with them where they feel comfortable and good enough to contact me, and then we can get that information where it needs to be, to take care of whatever the problem might be.
I'm curious about that as far as because you hear, this is all based off of movies and stuff that, but you hear police informants. What is there what does that entail? Is that just, like you said, just a relationship, or is there that special agreement that you have with particular people? Is it documented? Is it,
very much so documented.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
And that's interesting to think about. Who among us who I know is an informant?
Well,
obviously you're not going to say that. I'm just saying that.
No, I'm just gonna tell you, for the most part, we pretty well let our informants know that look, if something really bad goes down in one of our cases, meaning a police officer gets shot, even males get shot, something along those types of lines, it's a really horrible thing, and you're around it, then yeah, you're probably gonna have to testify.
Yeah.
That's how that is.
Yeah.
But
and they understand they're taking that risk on. Yeah.
But we've all pretty much been sitting in the courtroom to where there's a defense attorney and his client or her client, they really want to know who your informant is. And they really work hard at trying to find who your informant is. And it's kind of like, I would rather have you just drop the case now than try to push any further, because I'm not going to tell you it is.
Because that's more valuable to me for things.
Well, I've told somebody something,
Yeah.
We have talked. And they know I'm going to do my best to take care of them. I let them know, like you said, you talk, you visit. I let them know that there's some instances this might happen and you may have to do something. You may have to, but for the most part, we're going to do our best to keep you a confidential informant.
Yeah. For both their best interest and the police department's best interest. Yeah.
Yes. That's how we do that. So we got to work those guys.
Have you ever seen just because I'm talking about informants, have you ever seen the movie The Departed?
No.
Even watch that movie. I mean, it's be prepared. There's some it has some questionable things in it, but it's a really good movie. It's about informants. It's basically informant that the FBI has that's in with the mafia, and then the mafia has an informant that's actually it, and it's basically those two people trying to catch each other. Anyways, one of my favorite movies. So you should.
Well, and it is, and I'll tell you what. Sometimes you think you're kind of almost in something like that.
Yeah.
And we weren't in the mafia scene with it or nothing. But, and now when I talk about this stuff, okay, if I say like I or me or whatever, it's not necessarily that way, okay? It might be my case.
Yeah.
I'm the case officer. But when I say I and me, there's plenty of other great
right
officer detectives around us that's making it happen. Okay?
Yeah.
But I am I was case officer on the only murder for hire that's ever happened in Grand County. And it didn't go off, of course. Stopped it, but
yeah, when did that? I'm just curious.
Well, that's been a lot of years ago when I was an investigation for staff.
So before you were sheriff?
So before I was sheriff. Okay. When I was a working detective on on the streets and working with informants, and I was busy when we were doing drug deal, actually turned from a fraudulent case, where I was working a fraud case that rolled into a murder for hire case. And anyway, so we worked that case, and we got a conviction. Guy went to prison, so that was good.
You said the murder didn't happen.
No,
caught in the field. Something he's alive, right?
Yeah,
yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, that was cool work.
So how do you? I mean, I don't know how much detail you can give us about that case, but how do you prove something like that? Because back when
we had video, we had our bad guy brought to us a picture of the victim. Brought to us anyway.
Did you,
It was just a lot of interesting stuff that came together, culminated together. That
was it the person that they were trying to hire? Was that an informant? Was that a undercover? I mean, I'm just sorry. This is really very simple.
Take the job and then
okay. So they asked my informant about it.
Okay.
So my informant came to me and said, "Hey, they said, do we do murder for hire?" I said, "Yeah, we can do one. Let's do it." So then we got our team together and we got everything working just right, and we set it up, and we had a hitman. We had the whole shebang.
Okay.
We ran through the whole thing. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It got a little bit kind of, I won't say Hollywood, but it got pretty exciting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hollywood's based on a lot of real life stuff. I mean, it's out there. Yeah.
But there was a lot of investigating. I keep going back to that because anybody that sits up and says this is a me gig, okay, they're BSing you totally. And the me guys, they go down. Okay. There's nothing here. If you're the lone man out there, eventually you're going to go down because you just can't do it. You have to have the help.
venture to guess, especially now with all of the bad press that law enforcement has received. It seems like now more than ever, it's kind of a thankless job.
You know, so that's part of the deal. No, I still have my job.
Yeah.
And I love the people we work with. We live in like the best place you can possibly live.
That's what I was going to say. Probably not as much here because, you know, places like here, we are behind law enforcement.
People still back their law enforcement here. We all know each other here.
Yeah.
You know, we went to school with each other here. And if you come from out of town and come to here, it doesn't take them very long for people to think that they're actually from here the whole time also, you know. I mean, they're brought in and they set the whole thing. And I'm not saying we don't have all our rivalries because we all did, right? I mean, Lima's got Thatcher, okay, everybody's got Thatcher for me.
Be honest. Yeah.
We all know that, all right? So that's how that works. And of course, I graduated from Thatcher.
Yeah.
But, and the way I do things, I'm like this. If one of the local teams runners playing Thatcher, hey, my alma mater, I root for Thatcher. But when Thatcher's done, they go off the field, off the court, off whatever they're doing. Safford, Pima, Fort Thomas. I branch out after that, I branch out into the Wilcoxes, the Morency's, Duncans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go southeast Arizona, and I just kind of start expanding my little thing right here. I want to see some kind of a trophy come back to this valley.
Yeah.
I really don't care who brings it back. It's somebody bringing it back. You know? And I'm rooting for you 100%.
Yeah. We had Lee Patterson on a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about that. And talking about how long it's been since some sport, some here in the Gila Valley that hasn't brought that trophy home. Like we won't go into that too deep, but and I like that you have that. That you have that interest in.
Well, I'm totally community everything.
Yeah.
Like I say, when it busts out of our little community, I'm still with our locals.
Yeah.
Because they're still my locals.
Yeah.
You know, they're still my locals. And you're right around, so we expand. And I'm all for that. And it's great. But anyway, so we got through some of that stuff. We got off into the sporting world. We did. But so other things that was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Is so back when I was with Safford and still doing my investigations there, early morning hours, just starting into the workday, more or less. Okay, there was a pursuit came into town from south of Safford. Had come into town, and the pursuit wound up crashing out. 2 boys and a girl. They break out, they run. Girl gets caught pretty quick. Boy gets caught fairly quickly. The other boy gets into a backyard and gets kind of hemmed up in between a house and a garage and tall fence, and he's stuck. There's no way out. He sees that, and it's a family podcast, I would suppose. But anyway, he did himself in.
Mm.
I mean, that's a nice way of saying it on sound like this. So he did himself in. So anyways, we find out these are suspects of a homicide and a drive-by shooting that had occurred in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Jason is a sergeant, and like I said, other officers were involved in it, but we got the suspects and one of the suspects, and we got him into the room and we questioned and we interrogated him and then whatever, and we got a full confession out of him and the whole shebang. And then when he got all done talking to us, he told Jason and I, he said, you know what? He said, you guys are pretty cool. He said, I'm probably getting ready to go to prison the rest of my life or get the death penalty. He said, but you guys are pretty close. Well, he did get the death penalty. Jason and I, and then there's the guy's name was Officer Steve Lee. He used to be a dare officer with Safford years ago. But they flew us three back to Georgia to testify in the homicide trial.
Wow.
So anyways, it's showing more actual police work being done that I've been involved in. We have done cases that are like complex cases and many, many things like that. So there's just so many. And that's happened through all of our career. To one of the unfortunate part of the deals, I did get to, it's people always ask, like when I said earlier, how do you do this job or how, whatever. None of the people think, well, how do you do your job? I do my job because I know I have victims. I know I have people who bad things have happened to them. And I know I need to do the right thing to take care of my victims and to have the best outcome. Is it a messy road sometimes to get that to that location? Yes, it is. A lot of times it's very messy. But the only way I know the bad guy is going to be where he needs to be is if I do a good job of what I do. So we worked a lot of crimes against children and forensic interviewing very small children with trainings for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a lot of that through the years. The other investigators can do it awesome. They did a very good job. But anyway, so yeah, I've worked a lot of cases involving children, teenage kids that have been molested by family members, by friends of family members. People you just would never dream would ever do something like this to anybody. And how do you do that? You do that by knowing I have to do this correctly, because if we didn't do this correctly, then this guy's not going to jail anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Or this lady's not going to jail anyway. Now, having said that, I had another case that was exactly like that. But as I got going through my case, I soon found out that, okay, our victim and our suspect have now basically flopped. Our little victim is now a suspect of not reporting the correct thing that took place. And our suspect, who's not a victim, did absolutely nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Except ask that young girl, before you go to your friend's house, would you please do the dishes?
Mm-hmm.
She did not want to do the dishes out. And she said, Dad molested me. That's what we would spend an entire case. So it's just as important for us to find out whether somebody did or didn't,
Right,
as the other way. So anyway, so keep open mind, go into your cases.
that's got to be a challenge in of itself, being law enforcement in a rural, small communities. As you mentioned, a lot of times it's someone that you've known your whole life.
Oh,
That you would never expect this to, and so that adds a whole other element of difficulty. I mean, the big city, you're dealing with people that you don't know, but you're dealing with your neighbors, in a small town like this.
I have arrested people who I went to school with. I have had some of my own family members inside my county jail. When they were in my jail, I never even walked by the cell and even said hi to them when they were there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anybody saying, hey, you're taking care of your family and you're doing this here. Like, no, I didn't walk by and say hi to them.
Yeah.
nor did I send any message to them.
Mhm.
No, that didn't happen. They're an inmate in here. Right? Let them like it, leave, whatever. They're an inmate. And that's how everyone gets treated. I've had a lot of that. I've been called in the early morning hours by an officer and said, hey, I got one of your family members stopped over by Circle K. So what don't we do them? And I said, whatever you would normally do with somebody on this stop.
Yeah.
I said, just go ahead and do that. I said, we will be friends tomorrow. Do not worry about that at all.
Yeah.
I'm okay. They messed up. I didn't. You didn't. Take care of business. And I've never asked anybody to not ever write a citation. I've never asked anybody to go write the citation.
Mhm.
The officer discretion, but I've never tried to influence a young officer to do anything that I think would be against any kind of training that he's possibly ever had or she's ever had. I don't want them to ever be confused about what exactly is the boss want from me here.
Yeah.
Does the sheriff want me to like write everybody, not write everybody, just write people that I know, just don't write his friends, don't do this. It's like, no, you just go.
Just do your job. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned when I was telling you, and I've learned it not just through the old chief, Milt Ray, but one of the officers that worked under Milt Ray, had just started a few years before me. He made a traffic stop one time. This was a great lesson learned. He made a traffic stop. He stopped somebody who was a prominent person in our community. That person told this brand new officer who was not from our community that, hey, I will have your job. And you'll no longer be working for the police department. And you'll no longer this and that, and went on and on and on and on about everything. And so anyways, he went to the office. He saw Chief Milt Ray. He told Chief Ray, he said, I stopped so-and-so and they're going to have my job. And Chief Milt Ray said, oh, he said, you mean I didn't show you that list of exempt people we have to in our community? And he says, no, he didn't show me this like that. Nobody exempt. So let me show it to you. He reached in his desk, he pulled out his file folder and he threw it up on his desk. He turned to the first page and there lay a blank page. He said, that's who's exempt in our community. He said, don't worry, boy, you'll still have your job tomorrow.
That's awesome.
He said, I'll take this file on for you. And that's why I would never put a young officer, make the phone call and say, hey, that's my buddy, don't write him a ticket. Or hey, that guy works for me to write him a ticket. Or hey, guy, that's another police officer to write him a ticket, you know? Wouldn't do anything like that.
Have you ever been pulled over?
I have been pulled over. I have been written tickets.
So, in the community or outside?
And outside.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's a great.
And I may have been pulled over here too. Hey, I'm not exempt.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've been written citations. Let me just tell you, okay, I got a warning. It wasn't a citation, but there was a young man that was working right outside of Globe. And he was a DPS officer. And he stopped me. And he made his approach. And he came up and saw me. I gave him my license. I could tell that he was pretty new. You know, he was very impressionable. He was very officer safety aware. He was all those things. So I just talked to him. We visited for a minute. He said, I have your license. I gave him all my stuff. He went back. He came back with a warning. So I signed my warning. And then he tore it off and gave me my copy. And I told him, I said, look, I said, let me show you something now. I said, let me show you something now.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed him my badge. And I said, look, I said, I didn't pull that on you for a reason. I did not show that to you for a reason. I said, you handled yourself professionally. You handled yourself the right way. I want to commend you on that, you know, for doing that. And so I wanted it to be a good thing for him. I don't drive to there like that anymore.
Yeah.
It worked for me, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, there's no reason for me to tear down a new officer.
Yeah.
Or a young officer. That's not part of their training.
Yeah. So I'm curious, at what point in your, as an investigator and as a police officer, was there a point in your career where you had the goal to become sheriff?
No, I really couldn't say that it was just a goal of mine. So when I had like 16 years on with Safford, it was coming up right to the election time, and I had a great group of people come to me and say, "Hey, you need to run, and here's some issues or whatever." And I had seen some issues. I worked around it.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a long time. Worked on task force.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, all that stuff. Worked with other investigators. But anyway, and so I got some issues that I said, yeah. But they stayed after me. It's like, I really don't want to do this. I like my job right now where I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I love investigation. That's the cool part is I've liked all of them so far. I love my patrol deal.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know for sure if I'm going to leave it. And I did. Then I got the investigations. I love investigations. Didn't for sure if I want to leave it or not, but I did. And now I'm the sheriff. And I don't want to leave it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to leave it. I still love it. I still love what we do. And I still love being here. But anyways, so I didn't really have that goal so much, but then I did. I actually ran for sheriff when I had 16 years old in Safford. And I lost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I lost. Wasn't by a huge margin, but I lost. And that's nevertheless when you lose. You know, it was 1 point or 100 points, you still lost. I lost.
Who were you running against?
So anyways, the past sheriff. It was Frank Hughes. Okay. And then, anyway, so, which I mean, Frank and I were friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talked, he called me a couple weeks ago, we visited and anyway, yeah, there's no problems there at all. If he needs me, I'd be there for him, and I think he knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no doubt if I needed him, he'd be there for me. But, anyways, and so that kind of, I ran again. After that 4 years was up. And I won. I won that go around, and we won pretty handily. So then I got as the sheriff after that. Then there was just a lot of things that it's like, wow, when this sheriff idea come to everybody's head and say you need to run, and they start talking to me about it. So I think this was a little bit misrepresented to me. I didn't realize that all the stuff's getting ready to come along with this sheriff thing, you know.
Yeah.
The responsibilities of a sheriff. The county, every department has their own chiefs. I understand that in the city and all those things, but the county sheriff, you're all in my county. You know, and I feel deeply responsible for every one of you in my county,
Mm-hmm.
good, bad, or indifferent. And so, I still feel that for everyone in my county. And, it's personal to me. And I don't take anything for granted. And I love my job, and I love those that I work with. And, it's a passion now. And yeah, we still do other things. Sure. We still run some cows on a ranch out here. Sure. Anybody has any kind of a job, you better have a little bit of outside something different than your normal everyday work. Otherwise, you will, say that's not good for a man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have something else you can go home to every now and then and say, okay, I don't have this job. I can do this for a minute. However, I've learned through all these years that when you go home, that doesn't mean that you're off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've had locks on my door, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'll go there and there'll be somebody standing with their children saying, hey, we need to talk. And that's coming in the house. You know, we'll sit in the living room and we'll sit and talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at that moment in time, that person at my door, that's the most important thing in their life at that very second. And I need to show them attention for what's important to them. And then I get them, if they need help and assistance further, then I do my best to get that for them. We go on. So anyways, you're not just a sheriff 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. You work 4 10s. You're the sheriff 24/7 all the time. you might be somewhere, but when you get the call, you get a call. And then there you go.
Yeah.
And you got to take care of your job. And it takes a little while to even learn, really fathom what your job might even be.
What has been the biggest, like, surprise, or I guess going from detective to being sheriff, what has been the thing that has surprised you the most? I guess is that what I put that.
I think it's just kind of a lot of, it's the political stuff, a lot of it.
Yeah.
I learned one thing. If you wanted to, as sheriff, you could be gone to a meeting somewhere every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because everybody's calling you every day to come to a meeting somewhere, you know, and all of them's at home. Okay.
Those dang podcasts.
Hey, I'm sitting in Graham County right now. Right? I'm good with this.
Yeah.
I'm good with this. But, you know, it could be a deal of, okay, so in 16 years of being the sheriff, I'm glad that there's other sheriffs that are willing to do more traveling.
Yeah.
Whether they like it or don't like it, I really don't care that part of it for them. I'm glad they're doing it. So I don't have to be involved in that so much. Okay. But in 16 years, I've been to Washington, D.C. one time as sheriff. And, well, actually, that's the only time I've been there. Well, you know, I was there once with Safford because I went to a missing and exploited children seminar that I went to at D.C. with my then Chief John Griffin was with us. Yeah. And I went with him and we all met. But anyway, so I've been there twice. And a lot of people, you know, they've been there a lot more than that, just vacation.
Yeah.
You know, I could have a paid trip to that,
Right.
but I don't desire to be there. And so I don't go there. But I do Western States sheriffs, which is typically in Reno, Nevada. They held it in Las Vegas, some else back in Reno, Nevada. And that has to do with Western Sheriff, west of the Mississippi. And we have more, public lands, you know, their federal lands, BLM lands, state lands, all that stuff. Just different issues that happen out west that do not happen back in the east. And so I attend those. Oh, I didn't go to the one this year. Lord, what's the one year before last? Yeah. The one before that one didn't make it. But anyway, so yeah. So I haven't made it to all those, but I try to go to those because they're also very good resources when you meet with the sheriffs, because something can happen somewhere else in some part of the country and you can make a phone call to a sheriff that it may be in this county or it might even just be in this state, but he can get you connected up with somebody. And you're almost like you're on a first name basis in the family right when you first talk to them on the phone, you know, and that's the kind of relationships you need to build with others that are around you. Now, we're that way with our sheriff sharing the state, of course, you know, and, so we define that way. I can get a hold if I need them.
16 years, though, that seems like that's a long time before a sheriff. What's a normal tenure for a sheriff, or does that just kind of vary by county?
It varies. It varies. There's some.
Are you the most senior sheriff in Arizona?
Myself and the Apache County Sheriff, his name was Joe Dedman.
Yeah.
We came into office together.
Wow.
We are the most senior sheriffs, I think, yes. But I have my undersheriff is Jeff McCormick.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff McCormick has been with me the entire time.
Wow.
And we're the only sheriff undersheriff duo that are still the originals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's been a blessing to have Jeff.
Yeah.
With me with this ride. Actually, you know, we had some signs made, and you might notice some of them around occasionally. That some of the small ones, they'll have my name, but they'll also have McCormick's name on them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Well, I'm very proud of the fact that we've been together.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could put everybody in my office's name on that sign.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones that are there working, doing it every day, you know, and making things happen. And of course, we're there also, but if it wasn't for them, it's like, you know, I don't know what them good sayings, but you're only as good as your weakest link or whatever, you know? And, anyway, so we have very strong links.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of excited for them and their accomplishments, and not just the sheriff's office links, because when you do law enforcement here in Grand County, you're linked in with everybody in law enforcement.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, you answer for everybody.
Yeah.
And we have good officers and deputies throughout our entire county. And my detention officer did a great job also.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Off the top of your head, do you know what the longest sheriff for Graham County was? Like, are you, that might be a smart question to ask.
I really don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. I'm suspecting though that, it's probably, Skeet Bowman, who was a sheriff here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Skeet was, because he was a sheriff. Then there was a break when he was not the sheriff. Then he came back into the turn of sheriff. And that might have.
He's the Grover Cleveland of sheriffs.
There you go. So I think his years combined, he's up there pretty good. He was a good man.
Yeah.
You know, we've had some really great sheriffs in Graham County. You know, we've got some really good men that have served and served their communities well.
I want to ask kind of a dumb question. So you have all these different law enforcement departments, like all the towns and cities. Then you have DPS, the state troopers. Why is there a need for so many different departments under the same jurisdiction? Is that a dumb question?
No, it's not dumb at all. Because to start off with, the sheriffs, we were over our counties. And when I say we, long time ago, the sheriffs were over the counties. When as the towns, or the villages they called back in the day, you know, as they became incorporated, the next thing they got a fire department. Then they got a utility department, which, I mean, that's a long time ago. I don't know how much utilities they had back in the day or not, but they had a fire department. Might have been a bucket and a mop, but they had one, you know. And so they had that going on. Well, then here come their law enforcement along with their city that they have, or their town that they have now. And that is just kind of evolved now to where the sheriff takes care of the unincorporated areas.
Okay. That's where I was getting.
Sheriff takes care of all the unincorporated areas. Stafford takes care of Stafford. Thatcher takes care of Thatcher. Jurisdiction. Pima takes care of Pima. We have Fort Thomas, Solomon, San Jose, Sanchez, Bonita, Klondike, Artesia, Cactus.
Which that's a challenge in and of itself, because you have probably about the same amount of people. You said, you have about the same amount as Stafford does, but Stafford's just here in Stafford. You guys, you're spread.
We actually here in our county, we are actually responsible for probably right close to over just right at half of the population of Graham County.
Yeah.
The other half lives in Stafford, Thatcher, and Pima.
Yeah.
But having said that, in all fairness kind of thing, so during the day, we know the majority of the people are in Stafford, in our towns.
Yeah.
They're working here, they're here doing their thing. Out of town shoppers are coming here to shop. So the traffic increases in our towns and those things. So they stay busy around in here doing their things. And of course, not all of our schools, but a lot of our schools are in the towns. I've got Solomon School, Fort Thomas School, Elementary High School, and I've got Bonita School. So I got 4 schools in my county while everybody else has them in their town.
Yeah.
And, but that's the main thing, is the incorporation of it. And then the thing is the state highways. The state highway, that responsibility is the state troopers, the DPS. And they are supposed to, and they do patrol the highways, Highway 70, Highway 191, north and south, 70 east and west.
Mm-hmm.
our folks here, they happen to get some, occasionally they get some in northern Cochise County also, that they have to patrol. 366, 266 are also highways, and maybe you don't even know that. Some don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that the highway runs all the way up on top of Mount Graham. That you could see troopers up there patrolling because that's state highway.
Yeah.
Mount Graham.
Let's be honest, those troopers just want to go over skating, right?
Yeah. But they go up there occasionally, but not very often, because their majority of their calls, the majority of the things that happen are down here and a lot of their areas, so that takes them out of play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you know where the old store was in Bonita, okay, the pavement ends right there for the state highway ends right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Arizona State Highway goes right over to Bonita to Stockton Pass.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't realize that. But anyway, so yeah, we get everything else out there. Our county is right about 4,000 square miles is what our county is. Most of it's on the side of the mountain. But our guys are, and then we have the reservation, which is a big portion over here. Okay. But we still even help to assist the reservation with a lot of their calls. We do search and rescue missions for them. The chief called me here a while back, and they had something that they needed to have their officers attend, and they were going to be gone for a day. And so I sent a couple of our deputies. They went to Bilas, and they patrolled Bilas for a day and handled the calls in Bilas.
Yeah.
You know, we worked really well with them. We've never tried to take anything over on the reservation, or I want to take anything over on the reservation. It's theirs. It's all nation. But as far as doing the right thing, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And the right and the correct thing is to help and assist our fellow agencies that are close by to us. And we're always going to do that. We're always going to be there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same as I'm there for us if we need them.
That's awesome.
I'm curious, and do you know why a sheriff is an elected position as opposed to like a police chief?
You want my personal opinion? I guess we'll get it. So anyway, so the police chief, it goes like this. And I'll tell you, we got good police chiefs.
Yeah.
And I'm not against always telling you how the breakdown is, okay? So the city of Sanford, the town of Thatcher, town of Pima, they have their city councils. Okay? They need a police chief. The police chief works at the will of the city council. The city council could get together one night, early one morning over breakfast, and say, hey, we think it's time for our police chief to leave. The next board meeting they go to, the police chief sitting there, everything's wonderful, and then the city council just says, well, you can go now. And the police chief has to go. He's at will
Mm-hmm.
to the council.
Yeah.
Okay. The council, they're elected by the citizens of their town. Okay. Now, sometimes, occasionally, like I say, I won't use this here for examples, but other police chiefs, other places, they may see something, hear something, know something that they don't want to say nothing because that might upset my council.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to upset my council because I don't want to get walking papers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now me, I get elected as a sheriff. Every single person in Graham County that can vote, that's where I got registered to vote, they get to vote for who their county sheriff is going to be. I'm not chosen by council. I'm not chosen by anybody else. I'm chosen by the citizens of Graham County. Having said that, I try to exercise this sparingly and in smart ways. I can say basically whatever I want to say. And nobody can fire me for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Okay. But having said that, I love my job. So I'm not going to say something that is going to get us out into the national news and do whatever. Okay. I'm not gonna do that. I don't need to make us famous that way. I'd rather be as famous as far as this is the greatest place in the world to live right here in Graham County. I would much rather be famous that way than, well, the sheriff started up again over there.
Yeah.
I don't even mean nothing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Almost like just to get attention.
Yeah, to get attention or whatever the case might be. So anyways, I can do that. But then also having said that, if I see issues that I feel is an issue, then I can say what I want to say about that issue. And they're going to get to hear what I have said. And so let me add something else while we're kind of going down that road a little bit, okay? So you guys being in your business like you are, you get to see a lot of people around that come to see you from other businesses that are big professional businesses that are successful businesses, or maybe some that maybe aren't quite so successful, or they have a rough point in time in life. But when you take the job on as sheriff, or if you take the job on to be the leader of any group, and I'm just saying the leader of any group at all, if you cannot make a tough decision, then don't be the leader. I didn't say make the popular decision.
Mm-hmm.
The popular decision is the one where, no, we don't hold anybody accountable. They do as they want. You don't care.
Very rarely is a popular decision a tough decision.
Exactly. But you got to make decisions that are the right, correct decision. And like I say, and people won't necessarily like it. And among the people you care for, like you're saying, very close to you in a small community, that you don't like it. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I've terminated some people through 16 years. I've terminated some people from the Graham County Sheriff's Office. I didn't look forward to that. That was not my game plan. That was not my goal. I didn't ask you to apply to the Graham County Sheriff's Office and for us to hire you to the Graham County Sheriff's Office. For us to put training into you, whatever, just one day to say, hey, you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep you.
Yeah.
But please do things that will help me keep you.
Yeah.
Because I am accountable ultimately for what you do.
Yeah.
I am accountable. And if it's something that you did that's right and it's correct, I'm going to take that accountability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ride that with you. But if it's something that's a flagrant type stuff that, like, you're just trying to get us in trouble here, you're working at it pretty hard. No, what you did is like criminal. Then it's like, I cannot back you on that deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not going to pass the headline test.
Yeah.
And so do I do the unpopular thing and just say, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. Or do I do the correct thing and say, look, I'm going to call you at the table on the deal. And it might just be a verbal reprimand. Maybe a written reprimand. Maybe you got some time off with some pay. Maybe it's serious enough to get terminated. I don't know. But, and then a lot of those things that happen when we do those kinds of investigations within the home department, we have, another agency come and do them for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whether it's DPS, Globe's done them, Cochise County's done them, Banal County's done them, Granby County's done some. I mean, we've done them for them.
Yeah.
We'll do those things for them also. But accountability is a huge thing. Anybody's in business for themselves or any group, who's not accountable? I mean, there's a lot of people that do not want to be. Sure. That'd be a great thing to work for. Go and be accountable. I'm just going to do as I want.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But no, that's not how we work. That's not how should we work. Because anything we do that's positive in a good matter, then because accountability does both things. It does good things. Okay. So accountability does things that shows us that we did things that we shouldn't, that we did or didn't do that we should have been doing, and we're held accountable for this. Okay. And so when somebody says something, we find out that kind of accountability, whether we need to address it. But on the other hand, we also find out the accountability by holding someone accountable that, hey, by doing this and holding them accountable, we find out that everything was done correctly. It was done right. And we have no issues. And people were worried about this. Don't be worried anymore. We investigated. It's good. This good man, good woman.
Yeah.
Right here, you know. So holding someone accountable works both ways.
Right.
You know. So that's what I've always told folks, you know, if whenever somebody works for us and they want to work for a different agency or whatever, which that's fine. If someone wants to move on, I'm okay with that. Some I wish they wouldn't. I mean, we don't want to be down another position. But I'm going to tell somebody they can't go to work somewhere else or whatever. The only thing I tell them, I said, look, when you leave, go to work somewhere else, or you go to work for somebody else, I said, whenever you hand in your list of folks that they call as references for you, just leave me something good that I can reference you for. Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Right.
I said, I'm not going to just throw you off to somebody else because I just want to get rid of you.
Right.
You know, so that's not going to happen. I said, just do good work while you're here, and you will get a good reference from me.
Yeah.
I haven't held any hard feelings against anyone that's ever worked for us that's went to another agency. And there's been a lot of them. I'll tell you. Right now we're up to stuff in our detention. All of our positions are filled. I'm down on SWAT right now, on the deputies SWAT. And our dispatchers are up to snuff on. So we're only down one position right now in the county and our sheriff's office.
Yeah.
And that's good. And it's tough sometimes because, the cities and the towns, they make a little bit more money than the deputies do. Federal prison makes more money than my correctional officers do. You know, so they want to go. I've had some leave, go to those agencies, and then try and come back.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had some deputies say, you know what, I could make more over here at this place, but I enjoy the freedoms of working in the county. I love to patrol the county. I like that 1 minute, maybe I'm here in Sanford or San Jose or something like that, but next time I might be in Klondike.
Yeah.
Or I might be in the Heater Box.
Right.
You know, doing something that way, wherever the calls might go. And they enjoy that. They love that, getting to move around us. And I encourage them. I want them to get out there and move around us. It's important that our deputies know their areas and other locations. And we can always improve on that. But,
Most of your deputies, are they from, are they local boys usually? Do they come from all over the place? Or what would you say the average is?
it's both.
Mm-hmm.
It's both.
So I would imagine that would be a benefit of being local growing up here is the county. Likely they're familiar with, they're not having to learn it as much. But
Yeah, it's both. We got a lot of Safford boys that's worked for us and girls. So we have 3 female deputies with us, and they did a great job. One of them is our school resource officer in Fort Thomas, and she's great. She had a bang up job. She really does a good job. And the Fort Thomas children, they just love her to death.
yeah.
You know, and she's a huge asset for us down there. She also knows of being in Fort Thomas that if she's down there at the school, that if a call comes down, it's some kind of a hot tech call down that way, she will leave the school and she'll assist and go to the call down there, you know. So she does that kind of thing. So she does a great job. And then we have 2 other ladies that are patrol deputies, and they both do an excellent job. They're very good at what they do.
Yeah.
It sure is nice having them. Because, you get into the deal where you have to do searches on other females or things like that. And it takes you out of that issues, out of those problems, out of those issues, those problems as far as, who searches her or whatever. It's like, well, our ladies would search the ladies. You have them here.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll have one out of, a female that maybe works in detention or in our jail. If we need somebody searched on the road or whatever, sometimes we'll have one of them come to the scene. If we don't have a female on right at the moment, one of our females out of the jail will come down to search for us. Just things like that. We use them a lot. But anyway, but for the most part, they're from here.
Yeah.
We've got a little handful that come from different places, but for the most part, they're from here.
Awesome.
In the almost 40 years that you've been a police officer, what are like the biggest changes, either law wise or just protocol wise, that you've seen?
Law
I
wise,
guess that's kind of a broad question, but
not really. Law wise, I mean, of course, DUIs have gotten a lot tighter. What I mean tighter, I mean DUI drugs. Which to investigate DUIs, it used to just be blown to the machine kind of thing. But now you have drug recognition experts where and I send all my guys, haven't been to it, but it's just not their turn to go yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they come up, they're going to go, and they become DRA certified where they can look in your eyes and see different things and their clues, all that stuff that determines where you are out on the scale. And, but anyway, so there's a lot more science type stuff to it. And of course the DNA stuff is all a different ballgame totally with DNA. There wasn't much of any of that going on really. There was a little bit of it back in the day, but not a lot. And, but then the DNA is a huge part now, and it can help you solve a lot of issues out here. And,
Has technology changed how, I mean, everybody has a camera now. So has that been a pretty big adjustment that you or law enforcement have?
So, the older guys, okay, some of them have a rough time with that.
Mm-hmm.
They come from an era where you don't want to walk around and stick stuff in people's faces. If you go up, sticks up in my face, you might get swatted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To them, that's a threat.
Uh-huh.
Where nowadays, I'm just videoing you.
Yeah.
And for the most part, your youngsters, they grew up in this era.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't bother.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me to video. It doesn't whatever. And for the most part, even the older guys now, they know it also. It doesn't bother them. Somebody wants to video me or whatever. People walk into the front of the sheriff's office, into the lobby with their camera going. And then, somebody will ask them, well, it's one of our secretaries, and they ask them, may I help you? No, just in here.
it's a public place. I can record.
Okay. Then just like, well, let me know if you need something. I just go back, go do your work, Let me. There's really not hurting anybody around there. And I'll tell you one place it's really it's a tender spot for a lot of people. It could be a homicide scene, it could be a fatality accident, something along those lines where there's like some horrific physical damage done to someone. And the first guy on the accident scene starts filming as soon as he walks up there. And then before the night's over with, it's on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And then you stick to yourself, really, just think to yourself.
You're talking about a police officer or just
the guy in general that maybe saw the accident, drove up on it, calls 911. While he's calling it, he walks up on the scene with his camera going, however he does it. And then that night you see it, they'll show up on Facebook, and this guy really said, now that was like your loved one, your family member. What do you want to have that come up on the screen?
Yeah.
Of those pictures that you just took? Well, I can do that. Yeah, you can. And you did. And you did a great job, by the way.
There's a difference between legal and right,
Yeah.
Is it right to do that? Is it legal to do that? Yeah. Is it right to do that? Maybe not.
And I'm not the moral police, so I can't tell you whether that's morally correct. I will stick somebody's family member up on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm not the moral cop. But still, I just wish that some people would still have enough about them inside that would say, no, that's not the right thing to do. Instead of, I beat that guy to it, I'm going to be the first to post it.
To that one. Yeah.
I'll be the famous guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll be the famous guy. So we've had a little bit of that go on. That's, to me, that's some of the worst part of the whole filming stuff with the phones and stuff nowadays is really, you don't really need to have that in the middle of the scene. And it's not when somebody punch somebody. It's not when somebody do whatever, you know. I'd like to watch those. Show me the punch too, you know. Let's see that, you know, this whatever. But when you got a horrific thing with someone's loved one that could possibly be deceased or on their way out of this world, somebody thinks they got to share it. It's like, that's a little bit much.
That is judgment, yeah.
But no, it doesn't bother us that particular part of the generation that does that. And they don't even bother them. I don't know even if it was on their own family members. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how they were raised, and how most of the rest of us were not raised. You know, it's just it's a tough, horrible thing. But yeah, that's some of the biggest things as far as law enforcement goes, really. You know, and I've always told, and the techie part that we'll talk a little bit. You know, I kind of think really that way back in the day, and I say way back in the day, not all that far back, but if a guy went to a bar fight and he saw some young guy in there and he come out the winner, sometimes when that guy walked out of the bars, the winner of the bar fight, the police officer might walk up to him and say, "Hey, do you want a job?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need somebody that's tough and strong or whatever, because see, a lot of years ago, they didn't have radios to call for backup.
Right.
You were on your own fighting until somebody else just showed up where you were at, or until you got to some kind of a radio or something happened, or a passerby called something or whatever, you know? So you had to have some tough guys, and we had a lot of tough guys.
Yeah.
They're really good. And now things have turned into, you know, you got to know a little bit about these computers now.
Yeah.
You need how to work them. You need how to download stuff. You need to know how to, you know, get into them or whatever. But even having said that, when it comes to forensic examination of a computer, we send them to a lab to do those. You know, we can do a little bit of basic stuff, but if you're going to get down and get into the computer, then yeah, we send them to a lab and have them dissect them out and figure things out.
Yeah.
You know, that has totally changed now. As far as that part of it goes. So yeah, that part's a different world. Anyway, but it's a good time. Love my job.
Yeah. One more question. I feel like I sometimes live in a bit of a bubble because I come to work, I go home, I hang out with my family, come back to work, you know. So you hear about a lot of the things happening in the county, and I'm like, that doesn't happen here, you know. So I guess my question is like, what are the biggest problems that we face in terms of crime here in the Gila Valley or Grand County?
Well, that's the other thing that we probably should talk about a little bit. Because we always have some disorderly conduct stuff going on. Always going to be people not getting along with each other totally. We wish it wouldn't happen at home with domestic violence. There's really no cause for domestic violence. There's no reason for that to exist. I mean, if you want to punch on each other, it probably really is about time to pull the plug and separate. Yeah, okay. You don't need to be beating on me. I don't need to be beating on you, you know. Mm-hmm. And we need to fix this, remedy this problem right now. But there's a lot of those types of issues. And we don't even talk about the drugs at all. And this whole thing we've been talking, we haven't been business about drugs. Okay. And the bottom line on the drugs thing is this, as far as I'm concerned, okay? Everybody knows that there is a supply and demand in business. And if I'm the supplier and somebody if Walmart has a store completely full of stuff over here and people want it, they're going to do very well in business. If for some reason people decide today, we're going to turn survivalists and we're not going into Walmart anymore. And they don't go there for 2 or 3 years. They're going to shut their doors down because it's like, we got no business.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to starve to death in here. This is not working. We're done. So, having said that, you've got guys that don't live too far away from us across the border in the form of a cartel. And the cartel knows they have a customer who is the biggest consumer of illicit, dangerous drugs in the world. That's the citizens of the United States of America. They're going to get us the product.
Yeah.
Now, we try our best to set up, we fight to do that. We fight daily to do that. Like I said, I worked in informants for a lot of years, working on the drugs and different things. We've bought lots of drugs around this valley and other places as well. Brindley County, Cochise County. We moved around with Pima County. We went around and bought some drugs in a lot of different places through the years. Okay. And we did good. We knocked holes in them, but your hair keeps growing. Whether you like it or not, your hair don't grow. Not everybody's. Right? The side, okay? The side.
Let's see something.
The side. Keep growing. You get old, the ones in your nose and your ears. But they keep growing and they keep coming. So you got to keep working at it every day to knock it down. Now, if somebody has the fix-all problem to stopping the drugs, okay, save it be the fix-all problem B, you just got your, and just start mucking everybody out. Meaning, you don't trump on their constitutional rights. You don't trump on them at all. You don't make bad case law. You make cases that you can prosecute. That you can give to your county attorneys to judge, and so that they can prosecute these and get convictions on them. Don't mess with people's civil rights. Those are our rights that we give them, and, not just anybody driving down the road just decides to pull you over. Just some guy driving on the road pulls you over and says, hey, I'll search your car. And it's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't still search my car. Are you a deputy? Are you a police officer? Oh, no. You don't get out searching my car.
Mm-hmm.
I need my driver's license. You don't need it. Whatever. You're not a certified police officer. So anyways, you don't do it with those kinds of things. So we continue with our good citizens that we have. Our citizens are the best eyes and ears that Grand County or any community has. They're our best witnesses that we can possibly have. Okay? They're the greatest. We have 911 that you can call in. You have text a tip they can text a tip into. They have, we're still asking me right off the bat right now because I have to do my homework. But anyway, but
Probably pretty easy to
but
Google.
it's easy to get to. But anyway, so the text a tip is there. You can just call dispatch right off. Chances are you probably know a police officer in this valley. You can call him.
Yeah.
Whatever the case might be, something's bad going on. You can find somebody in authority to get a hold of to call.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to find somebody to respond. So that's what's going to happen with the drug thing. One, we have to have programs in place that will try to help us. And I would have never thought that's a big change from 36 years, 37 years till now, is I didn't think that we'd be so much into the counseling and the drug rehab stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't police officer stuff back in those days. But it's evolved now to where the police are involved in a lot of that stuff. And, we have to have training in it. So we make sure we get the right help for people. So we know which way to send them and take them to go with them to the system the best they can,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that just means the county jail for right now until we can get it figured out. And a lot of times it has to come to the court system. And then you go and try to help somebody the best you can. We're going to get you this help. We get you a rehab. We get you that. And then they walk out of the rehab. It's like, dude, we just put you in there to help you. So the bottom line on that is you can send somebody to a government type rehab. You can send somebody to a Hollywood of the Stars rehab. But if that person don't want it and that person don't want it, when they walk out, they got the same result. They go right straight back to their door.
Yeah.
They got to want it themselves personally.
Yeah. So it's coming back to the supply and the demand is really, if the demand's not there, the supply won't be there. So those programs to combat that, really the best serve maybe at school than educating and trying to prevent those things from happening.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, if anybody has the catch-all and they know how to take care of that problem and they didn't do it, well, shame on them for having our community go through what they went through all these years with between suicides and overdoses and all those things. If somebody had the catch-all answer, did not share that with us.
Yeah. Not even argue to say that if someone claims to have the catch-all that's going to solve that problem, but they don't. I mean, it's just that it's too complicated of an issue.
There's been some pretty brilliant minds work on this issue, and they're still working on it today.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people out there that know how to do things to try to keep the laws and to protect the laws and to adhere to the laws. And, and we live in a great place. We have a county attorney that's great. He backs our play and what we did. He will prosecute any case he possibly can, as long as we give to him a prosecutable case. Okay. He's going to run with it. He'll do whatever. I think our judge makes good rulings and good decisions as a Superior Court judge. Our JP judge does a good job. I mean, I have no problem with those guys at all. And I think we have a really good team working towards good things in our community. And we do a lot of community involvement. I mean, one of our schools, different organizations. It's hard times, but it's fun times, it's great times. And hopefully when we look back someday, hopefully we'll make some type of a positive impact here in our county for all of us. And cause I want to see families continue to get raised, be strong and be happy right here in the Youth Valley. I'm all about that. 4 of my 5 kids live here. My 5th one, he'd love to live here. But it's just, he's got a pretty good job where he's at. And I told him, you stay right there where you're at and keep doing well at your job you're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's election season, obviously, that's coming up. I'm sure that's a stressful time for you just because of, the ins and outs of that. I personally want to say that the reason you have my vote is because of how you're just truly a salt of the earth type of individual. You're a great guy. You're coachable. I've always loved you, PJ, and consider your family good friends. And one of my favorite stories or memories that I have is that this is probably, it was either right when you got elected or right before, but it's probably about 16 years ago or so. Out on your ranch, we go hunting out there, and we were out there. My brother's brother-in-law was on a police force. I don't know if you remember this, but he was in Mesa or something. He was a police officer, and he had an automatic rifle that he brought down, and we were out there shooting on your ranch. And you came pulled up, and we're like, oh my gosh, I hope this is all right. And you were cool about it. I think you even grabbed the rifle and shot it a couple of times. So that's why you've obviously been there for 16 years. You're obviously doing a great job. So I personally want to thank you for the service that you provided the community and the county.
Well, thank you, and I hope everybody has one of them rifles.
That's right. Do you remember that? I'm curious.
I'm trying to remember.
It was me and Trey, and I think my brother Jacob, and then my brother's brother-in-law. We were out there on the very north side of that gazebo. Actually, we were out there.
Oh, I do remember that. On the gazebo right over there. Yeah,
we were like, I don't know if it's gonna be okay. You were super cool about it. But which obviously it was all legal. I mean, he was a police officer.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah. But
everybody just always gets wound up whenever they see a policeman show up. When they look at the rearview mirror and they see a police, the first thing they do is hit their brakes when they're already going like 500. Right? It's like, what's hit your brakes for?
Your mind just goes to what long am I braking?
What am I doing wrong? The cop behind me.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to say? With it being election season, I mean, anything that you
I'll
share?
I'll say this. I don't know exactly when this podcast goes out, but July the 3rd is when the early ballots are mailed out for the primary election. July 30th is actually the election day for the primary. This race will be done in the primary, and of course, I'm definitely asking for votes. I am right now. I am the Graham County Sheriff. I have been the Graham County Sheriff. I would love to remain the Graham County Sheriff. And, yeah, I'm getting up there in age, I guess. I think out 58 is old, I guess. But I mentioned that to some guys who were actually out there working, they're sweating and they were really working hard, and they were a lot older than I am. And they said, no, we don't think we're told to do our job. Said, we think you're okay to be yours. And I said, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I think experience says a lot. And you've obviously experienced quite a bit.
Well, it's proven stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's proven stuff. Anything we've talked about today, I mean, it's proven stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, and it's stuff that we love to do. And part of the reason I threw a few names out there to this. If you happen to encounter any of them guys and you want to ask them any questions about any of our stuff, see what they have to say back with you.
Yeah.
See what they have to say back with you. And they can tell the kind of career they had or we had together or held together now or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you guys have anything in my direction, just always let me know, and we appreciate your dad and your brothers being on our search and rescue squad.
Yeah.
That's so important for us.
Mm-hmm.
And through all the years, your dad helped on different medical things in our county throughout all these years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, is families that have been around for a long time doing the right things for the right reasons. And our valley's completely full of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely full of them, and once again, we're just blessed to be here in the Valley.
Yeah. Well, we're blessed to have you. And to answer your question, we're going to do our best to get this released, on July 3rd. That's next Wednesday. So we'll do our best to release it for that, and hopefully we can get you some more votes. But
well, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this visit, though.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been excited about this ever since Isaac said it. So
yeah,
appreciate you taking your time and coming on.
Thank you.
Like Gucci.